So I traveled a long way, but I'm really excited to be here amongst friends. A lot of them that I look forward to. You know, there's a lot of talk about technology, but even more so, it's about our shared humanity and getting to see each other and share what we've learned together. And so what I'm going to share with you today is about the 5 levels of AI progress. A lot of us today have talked about getting into the details of AI, right? All of the important details. But one thing I want to do is to take us out of the details and look more at a map of what's happening and what's going to happen. Because it's important to have a map to know where you're going. And so for that reason, we're going to talk about these 5 levels. The first of which is chatbots. Just to give you a preview, after chatbots, we have reasoners, then agents, then innovators, and then finally organizations, which we'll get into. But the idea here is that, as we all know, AI has been with us for many years. Since the 50s, AI has been a thing, and we've all had machine learning recommending stuff to us in the background on Amazon for quite some time. So it's nothing new, but what is new is the way that AI has become more surface level, more direct for us to interact with. So when it was just Amazon recommending things, we had no idea what it was doing in the background. But with chatbots, for example, when it dropped in November 2022 with ChatGPT, we got to directly experience it, right? And for me, I knew for the first time having that sense of being able to talk to a machine was absolutely amazing. But there's a lot more in store for us. You know, the chatbots at the time and now are very good at pattern recognition. So pattern recognition is essentially like looking backwards, right? Because it's looking at past data and then deciding what to recommend to you based on that. So it's essentially backward looking. When we have reasoners, which came out, you know, with O1 from OpenAI about a year and a half ago, the AI models, the large language models, were able to look at thinking step by step and then incorporate that into how they actually problem solve. And so that's very powerful, but also I wouldn't give it too much credibility. It's not reasoning like us. It's essentially just gauging next word probability or the next step probability. And it's always prone to hallucination, just like it is factually. So it can make an incorrect reasoning step because it's essentially pattern recognition and it's a probabilistic system. What we need for it to think more like us is something that's more symbolic, something that's more logical. And we don't have that yet, at least at scale. And so the reasoners and all of these things tend to kind of build on themselves. The reasoners gave birth to what we're now experiencing, is the age of agents. So we've done chatbots, we've been there, done that. Reasoners, we've been there, done that. That doesn't sound like anything new to any of us here. But now we have agents. And they've been with us for about a year. You know, when OpenAI first came out with its operator, I played around with that, and it kept opening tabs and going around and really got lost. But that was just over a year ago. Now ChatGPT has its agent, which is much, much more capable. And even Anthropic has its own agent that can get a lot of coding done for you through Claude Code. And the amazing thing about the models now is that you can kind of gauge how effective an agent is by how much it could keep its attention span. Is it 5 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? Is it half an hour? Now we're actually at like 7 hours of it being able to keep its attention on something. So beforehand, we had the context window, right? How much information we could shove into an agent, into an AI, but now it's the attention span with agents. And there's a huge debate, you know, is it really an agent? Is it a workflow? Is it actually autonomous? I'm not going to get into that right now, but suffice it to say that we're all exploring how to use agents, how to make them effective. There are very many production-grade implementations of agents right now that are doing a lot of great work. And I would venture to say that if you don't have an agent working for you right now while you're sitting here, doing some research, maybe putting together a social media posting for you for after this, you're wasting a lot of opportunity because doing it manually anymore is just not necessary. Innovators, so this is where we're breaking new ground here. And by the way, you might be wondering, where did I come up with this 5 levels of progress? It was actually from a leaked memo from OpenAI that leaked out in July of 2024, where whether or not it was leaked on purpose for marketing, I don't know. But the 5 levels, interestingly, nowhere does it talk about AGI, right? These are all very practical, functional applications of AI. The chatbot, the reasoner, the agent, innovators. And so it's about what it can do for us. Innovators are different because unlike agents, unlike reasoners, this is about stuff that no one's thought of before. They're innovators in that they could think of stuff outside the box. Remember I said that AI so far has been about pattern recognition, looking to the past. Innovators are about looking to the future. A concrete example I could give to you is if we were able to give an AI solely the information available to someone in 1900, right? They don't know anything about anything after 1900, just 1900. Everything about science, mathematics, all of that. An innovator would be able to come up with the special theory of relativity and the theory of relativity that Einstein did, so an actual new leap of thinking, right? So it's that kind of innovation, that kind of like new thinking that these systems will be able to do. We're not there yet. However, there are some systems that are coming up with new ideas and innovations with medicine, and that's actually pretty interesting. It's the very beginning of this kind of system that could come up with new ideas. And when we're at that point, we could actually have AI conducting science on our behalf. Level 5. So level 5 is kind of OpenAI's implicit way of talking about AGI, but organizations essentially is when you get AI to a point where, remember, it's all stacking on top of each other. So you have chatbots, reasoners, agents, and then you also have innovators that can come up with new ideas. But when you combine all of that together, and you have a generalized intelligence that could work within marketing, within sales, within business operations, within finance, and it can work horizontally across all of those different needs and divisions, then you have something that could actually have intelligence at an organizational level. And I know the thought of that probably sounds very scary. But at the same time, just think of how much there is that we never get to, right? There's so much work out there that it's very possible that to have systems like this, we could actually get ahead of it instead of constantly falling behind. And so that's the promise of this, and the promise of organizations and using AI at that level. So, I'm not sure how much time I have left, but one of the movies that I loved back in 1999 was The Matrix. And everyone knows the scene where Neo is asked about taking the red pill or the blue pill. And I think a lot of us would hope, like him, that we would pick the red pill. The red pill standing for actually knowing the real truth of what's going on, not just the truth that we're fed. And I think we're in an interesting time. I think in a lot of ways, we're picking the blue pill. You know, we're picking a way of being that uses something else other than us to analyze things and make decisions that we take for granted as a starting point instead of creating our own starting point. And there's a big difference between those two things. And I'm not trying to say it's malevolent. I'm not trying to say that it's going to a bad place. I'm just saying that the reality that we've experienced, all of us, in growing up in our education, has been one where we've had a clear grasp on what has come from our own reasoning and thought. And with the use of AI, more and more, the edges between us and reality are going to blur. And that could be a fascinating, frightening, but also hopeful and interesting time. Thank you so much.